Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So first question was, how do we use the representational skills to communicate better with our children? What are practical things we can do?
Okay, so with the rep system, the thing about it is to know what makes your child how they are. So like when you say you learn that the child is visual, you know that a lot of things, I think if you even mentioned this earlier, like when you want to show things to them or you want them to do stuff, explain to them, let them see how it's done. It can be a video, it can be anything, you know, but knowing that they are visual, they like stuff, they like colors. Visual people like to see things that are bright. They like you to tell them that, oh, they look nice. These are the people that are very, very, you know, even you, when you're coming to them, like this is the kind of child that you're coming to school and the child will want to tell you, mommy, please dress nicely. You know how we're talking about different kinds of mom when you come to school. These are the kind of kids that don't want you looking, you know, when you are near them, you'll be wondering, but they want you to look nice all the time because appearance is important to them. Like when they stand next to you, they want to know that. So in a house, you are communicating with them, you're talking to them, you know, even sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you look up all scattered. But the whole point of it is finding out what is the first thing that, you know, what makes them tick. How do they think? If the person is a touchy-feely person, you know that the person wants a hug, the person wants to, you know, maybe when you're talking to them, calm down, hold their hand, try and explain at different times also, because I think you have to do a lot with age.
And they may just want to just hang around you.
Exactly. And you know, I've seen people that you might not like it. I have within my family, I always tell, I think one of my sisters, she doesn't like too much body, and she keeps doing it to her kids. And I was like, please do. When this child grows up, you now wonder why they need people to hug them or touch them all the time, you know, because you don't like it. When you're like, oh, stop, you're irritating me, oh, stop, I don't like it. And I'm like, be careful. If they don't, I had another friend of mine, I'll tell you, his daughter and then she's a teen. And then her mom wasn't around. And then next thing she said, her husband went to buy a huge teddy bear because she likes hugging people and just want her to go out and be hugging people all the time. They actually bought her a life-size teddy bear. It was the funniest thing. And I was like, really? And he said, yes. Because she's always trying to hug. And I mean, and she's 13, 14, she's developing. You don't want her to be hugging the driver or anybody else.
Teddy it is. Yes, I support.
So he didn't want anything like that. But you know, when you know them, you know how they feel. It helps you sort of like see how they think and how their perspectives come into play. So that's the whole point of learning more about it. And I'll tell you, so when we talk about the primary one, yes, that's how they do. But with the lead representation system, if somebody is visual, like I was talking about when they're lying or they're telling the truth, that's how you know. There was an experiment we did. Like if I say, okay, let me do it here and see how it works. Ify, can you imagine yourself with purple hair? Did you see that? Your eyes went straight up to the left. So there are certain questions you would ask. And immediately, I can't at the top of my head remember how. I'll have to go through my notes. But the lead, what it tells you is how the person thinks. People who probably will go up to the left, I think are AD, like you said, auditory digital. Well, somebody who will look down is somebody who probably thinks deeply before, or who, you know, is more visual. So the eyes tell you the whole thing. You have to go into it, and I can find it somewhere for whoever is interested and share it. So that's the whole point. It helps you
share it for us in the group. I like that.
I'll have to find that. I'll look for it and I'll put it together and then send it. So that's what it does for you in terms of communication. It helps you. It's those little cheat codes that help you know how a person is thinking or what they're doing. And I think it's important. Sometimes it does help you know when to approach the person. Because if I ask a question like that and I saw the person was a bit shy or embarrassed about it, I'll back off. And I'll wait till maybe we're only one, and then I'll do that. So there's so many of these things that, you know, the whole point, neurolinguistic is just a way of changing the way people think. That's the whole point of NLP. It's for you to find out what makes them tick. And if you have to make subtle changes, it helps you or leads you on the best way to do that. So that's what we do with the representational systems. It's almost like sometimes it goes all the way as far as hypnosis. You can learn that as well. So when you do those things, that's what it is. Is that clear, or do I need to, was I clear in the...
Please, I think you're very clear, because somebody said this summit, the value here is Idon level. So, and you know, if you're a trending mommy like me, you will know that when they say Idon, that means they're the real deal. So please, guys, hail us on social media. Or always hit and just tag us #GPS2023 so that we can take all our roses. Thank you so much. Okay, so I see your question, Kathy. The next question we're going to take first is, what about when they repeatedly ask questions they already have answers to?
Oh, yes, I know that.
Thank you, Julia, for putting the hashtag. Thank you.
I think when the kids who do that are just seeking your attention, they want to talk to you.
Yep.
They just want you to they keep asking the same question, that even though you've answered it, what they're looking for is that they want you to spend more time talking to them. And if you're not, like, some of us are one word, they've asked you the question, you've answered, and possibly because you are busy. Most of the time, you even say things like, oh, you've asked me before, while you are reading a book or you're answering a question or something. So when that is happening, strike a conversation. Most of the time, that child wants to talk. Maybe they want to talk deeper about something and they don't know how to approach you. They don't know where to come from. So they're asking the same question, and think about it. Why is the person repeatedly asking? They don't have a full understanding. They want more of you. They want to talk. It's one of the things we're saying about love languages. Some people want that attention. So instead of just giving the same answer, either go back and look for a way of maybe find let's even go and Google it, or let's look for something about it, or actually make it a learning opportunity. Let's go and find out if it's something about an animal. Maybe you can even say, okay, let's go to the pet shop and see if you have that. Or let's go to, but if it's about music, whatever it is, have you heard about this? Maybe the person wants to start a new hobby. They don't know where to go. There's something sparking the interest, know. So that's what.
Yeah, I'd also say this. I think you said it rightly. That's either seeking attention or they have specific interests here. But the third aspect to it, sometimes there's a response they're trying to get from you and they've not received it. So sometimes questions are symptoms. Maybe attention is one of such responses. The other one might be that they want a commitment from you and you're just answering them at surface level. So, and this is why you need to be presently present. If you're present, you're picking up on your children's body language. Their aura will be shouting at you. So even when the questions are coming, you know exactly what they're supposed to say. But if you're hacking your phone, you might miss those cues. And so the child is expecting maybe your own aura to match their own. Or they're asking you questions in excitement and you're just giving them monotone answers. Of course, they're going to keep asking you that same question because you have not matched their vibe. So that is also something we parents need to.
As Ifeanyi is saying it, what even came to me is that, as we said, everything is also dependent on at what age that child is. Because if you find a child, like for instance, they're getting to 11 or 12 and it's something to do with puberty, please pay very, very, very great attention. Because sometimes they keep asking and we get uncomfortable. Like you said, growth happens in the uncomfortable moments. So is that a comfortable moment when the child is asking you, oh, mommy, this part of my body, or something? They don't know how to approach that question. They're probably embarrassed. So you sit down and think about it. You might not be able to answer then. Go back, look through every result, ask people who might have gone there, and then come back. Even a little child that is asking you something that you find is weird, where is it coming from? You know what I mean? That child to keep on going back to it. Did they see something? Did they hear something? Like you say, maybe the maid has said something, somebody has mentioned it, like where is it coming from? And the person keeps coming. They want to understand, and that's even good. Because if the child is coming back, you have that moment to find out what's going on, as opposed to them saying, okay, I won't even talk. The more people talk, the better it is. Sometimes it's irritating. It is, because in a busy world, you don't want to hear the same thing. And most of the time, you'll be very struck with the person because you're like, please leave me. But questions are one of the best ways for you to have those children. So let's try not to run away from it. If you don't know, ask somebody else, and you get that experience. Like I say, we're not that different. A lot of the things that happen to lots of people. So
very, very true. Very true. So one more question. If you have questions, now's the time, but I have one more question here. I'm the one in need of help. Having my 3 children, a boy, so I think he has 3 male children, makes me all drained and tired. He has 3 boys. I see myself always shouting, exhausted and drained.
Now.
I feel like running.
You saw it differently. I saw a 3-year-old boy, and you saw 3 children. Can you imagine?
You see, so I don't know which it is, but basically Mama's tired. Mama's so tired.
Yeah, well, when it comes to 3 boys, that one is normal. But the thing I can say is that
Yes,
I think you need to find people that match that energy. So try and find other people who have boys who have the same, because community helps. You can't do it all. I think I shared before when I had my 2 boys, and I said, Niger mommy, when I lived, the one thing that helped was that a lot of my neighbors were the ones who would plan these things, and I just plugged into it. So you find people who have things that there are people who are creative. There are people who will come to my house, they'll bring all kinds of painting stuff. Oh, when he was with me yesterday, he liked painting. So you plug into it. In terms of being, I'm not sure what your support system, once in a while, you need to come out of that. Just, be you. We have to consistently fill your kettle, boil yourself before you pour into the cups. You have to keep filling that kettle. You're not a whole kettle. You're a whole tea. So you need to, sometimes and this is even literally like in my house, almost every evening they want tea. I'm the one who will pour the water. I will pour into everybody's cup and we sit down and then we chill. But sometimes you need to come from it. They are the ones that make. I've had a day, I'll tell you a story. I remember, I think I do hampers at Christmas, and I think 2 or 3, around that COVID year, my husband was away. And I had worked so hard, and then he couldn't make it for Christmas, first time in how many years back, in ever. And I went with my children, we had dinner at a friend's place, and it was a very, in our lives, it was a certain funny period. But I was super tired that night, and I got into the house, I couldn't even move. And then I was lying down there. My children went and made the tea for me. They locked up the whole house, 2 boys, and they came up and said, Mama, don't worry, go to bed. We'll take care of everything. They were all of 11 and 8 at the time. But it was just them knowing that that tea was very, very important. It was what we did every day. And they went and they made it. So sometimes they watch what they look at it and they learn.
Yes. Children learn how to fill their own cups from watching you fill your own cup. I remember when I had my last, my oldest was 6, my second was 4, my third was 3, and then I had a newborn baby, and I was working 9 to 5. And there were days I would come back, and truly, I would just manage to spend some time. And I had this policy: lesson teachers, no lesson teachers. I always look at all my children's homework myself, no matter what time of the day. And there were days I would come back and I would be so drained, and I would tell my kids, guys, mommy needs to lock the door, because over the years I had built the habit with the first 3 that once I can lock my door and put timer on for 30 minutes or 1 hour, and I say, please don't even knock on the door unless it's an emergency, just so that I can, just let go, breathe. And now these days of Netflix, you can even sometimes just put your Netflix. You're like me and you like your wine and you like your chocolate. There's some days I just sit down in my room with my wine and my chocolate, my favorite Netflix movie. And I'm filling my cup gently, gently. I mean, I know how many people have asked me, if how are you doing this Sunday matter? I'm like, guys, I tell you, what was I doing before we started? I had my tea and my cookies. Look how I fill my cup so I can pour out to you guys. See, you need to keep filling that cup. And you said it, FA. It's the same you tell you in the plane, put the mask on yourself before you put it on your child. So the reason why you're always shouting and you're exhausted and you're drained is because you are not taking care of yourself sufficiently. Because you see, let's not mark the checklist. Okay, I slept. Oh, okay, I went. If it's enough, your body will tell you it's enough. And if it's not enough, then you need to do more. And that's where your support system comes in.
Exactly.
My house is everybody's playground. So I'm very intentional about when I invite people, because I know when I invite them, I've started something that will not finish. The first time any child comes to my house, the feedback from every parent is, when next are we going? Because if you come to my house, basketball hoop, you did.
Exactly.
Swing, you did. Slide, you did. PS, you did. And I'm here. Why am I saying this? Because we intentionally made our home a hub for children to come. That's how I grew up. My mom knew all our friends, like she knew everybody's phone numbers. She was even friends sometimes when it's our birthday, they will come. They say they didn't come to see us, they came to see my mom, and they'll be visiting with my mom. You know, and I love that because it's reinforced that spirit of community, and we worked hard, my husband and I, to build that for our kids. So the thing is,
it's true what
find a friend like that.
Not even like I was gonna ask Catherine, I was gonna say that when you have the three of them, right? How old are they? One thing I learned from my sister was long ago before I had kids, and every time when we're in her house, you know, she lives in the UK, by 7:30 or 8, the kids are in bed. And I'll be like, for you, blah, 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 because I wanted to play with them. But she was like, please, I need my alone time. And once they went to bed, she used that time for herself. You know, for most people, you want to clear up, you are still doing more work. She will take herself, put on, like if you say, take her cookies or her tea and watch her favorite show. Because like she's saying, I remember when I had my kids and when they were smaller, first time mom, every day when I went to bed, I was like, how do I go through the day? I would be tired. But somehow when I slept and I woke up, it's like I had renewed energy, and I'm like, God is amazing, because the only way I can be feeling like this is that He has given me some, you know, overnights. You know, when they say your body rests, because you will be tired.
You will rest.
At every stage it's different. I don't know how old the boys are, but at every stage it's different. There's the same boys that one day, soon in the future, they won't forget you, but you find them so busy that you're like, where are these people? Because boys have a way of getting their own devices. They get busy. It might be a game, it might be, you know, so teach them to also start being a bit independent. If one is older, get into sort of like help you with the other ones. Don't say they are boys. You know, we have this whole thing about Nigeria. We don't raise boys are boys. No, let them help you with everything. When he knows that he has to help in the kitchen, he has to do this. Use that energy very well. Use it. Let them to clean up the energy. Let them clean up after themselves. Let them know when they do something they need to get. We need to do that from when they are small. And children, they start to understand things from as soon as they can, you know, they can put food and eat by themselves and all that. They understand. They might not want to take it, but they begin to learn. You know, so I don't know what the situation is. I think Dr. Ofia, Dr. Jules said she had a question she wanted to unmute and speak about, that she couldn't write it.
Okay, Dr. Jules.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. I've gotten a wealth of information. I just wanted to tap as in pick his brain. So I have two teenage daughters with two opposite representative types, right? From the class that we've had, I can see that one is visual and one is kinesthetic, I think. So that's like opposites. Now we are talking about it. I can, you know, take the tools and use, but now how can they relate with each other? Because one, you know, it's like living in a house with the 7 dwarfs. One wakes up all grumpy. The other one wakes up and is like, cool. Do you understand? So, and then.
Yeah, this answer too.
And then the energy, I'm like, how do I match that energy? Because sometimes when I say, don't worry, just calm down, let me handle it. The one that is the older one, that's the one that is calmer, is always like, but you don't have to deal with her all the time. I'm the one that is trying to handle it, and it gets on her nerves. So how do you advise? What tool will you recommend for her to be able to manage and cope with as more grumpy, you know, episodes?
So I think it's not more of coping, but more of them getting to understand each other. You see, when you look at it and think that, oh my goodness, they're both positives for them. One person is more visual, one person is more kinesthetic. So they should learn to support each other with that. In fact, when they begin to use both to understand you, they will understand. Like when you tell one that, okay, do you understand this? You know, like it's like saying, instead of putting them against, they begin to fuse it together. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if one is more, she's the one that will know how to dress. Let her have one-on-one on them. She should be the one that will say, oh my goodness, you know, you look really nice. This outfit, I'll tell you, I said that because I have 2 boys and they're almost the same, very different, very opposite. Like I mentioned, maybe from the pregnancies, I don't know, but they're very different. But when I learned, the older one is visual. I just noticed that he told his brother that, oh, when you wear this kind of outfit, you look really nice. Since then, that's what that one wants to wear. He wants to dress the way his brother has told him. So, you know, they won't always, there's no way you can always make both of them like get along. But when they know that I can look to you for something and you can also be that person, like the one who's emotional is probably better equipped at when they have maybe like relationship issues with others.
Yes.
Good. So when that comes, let her know she has like, you have a support system in her because she can advise you better on those things. They won't be easy because she doesn't want to feel like she's being told to do the things. But if you tell them more than one that, your sister, that girl, she knows better, or she'll be able to help you. She's the one who even told me. So subtly, sometimes I let these things into them. I'm like, oh, you know, your brother is very good at this, or, you know, you are very good. When you want to do, that's the best way I see it. If they both understand. The thing about understanding that is that they can also use it against you. Because they know that you are ahead. So you don't want to let them know fully that, oh, okay, this is how the thing is. So a lot of these things, because they're teenagers, you have to be a bit more, you know, crafty with it.
Yes. I totally get it.
One that knows that they're emotional and knows that once she's emotional, you want to sort her issues, will be using it against you, and you know, all that whole, not gaslighting like that, but when they know, then they want to do that so that you can't make her do anything. Like sometimes, man, you know, I don't like, no. Let's all be very, very so it's kind of like, but let them know that it's an asset to both of them having two different, you know, systems.
Systems.
Let them.
That means between the two of them, they connect two systems instead of one system.
Exactly. And let them use it to team up. So let them know the positives, look for the positives of the, you know, for every rep system, you can look at it as a positive. So when they know it's a positive, as in you're so you're good at it, you know. Even I'll tell you, my son was like that. When I'm dressing up, is him I go to. I'm like, what do you think about this outfit? Me once before that the dress I looked like a flower in one top. I looked like a plant. And it was a bit hurtful, but I could see what it was when I looked in the mirror because it was a green top that was flowing. And he just said, Mama, no, don't wear that. You look like a flower. But you know, because he knows that, he appreciates it when I ask. But there are always that will be like, that's your own, you don't understand the outfit, is old school, is fine. So you have to just, because if they can also use it to sort of like not hurt, but make you feel bad because they know.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what it is. But as I said, I'll share more about the system so you can find a bit more about how they actually really behave and what the behavior really is like. Because most of the time, there's a lot of merging amongst all of them. Never really have only one. There's a lot that you will find that, okay, one will be definitely stronger than the rest, but then there are others. And sometimes you knowing can help them sort of like take into cognizance what they are and sort of like get better at the other one, because it's all emotional intelligence. Things that we need.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's the code to the matrix. I can see it clearly now, and now I would work towards their compatibility with their strengths. That it helps a whole lot. Thank you so much, Faye. Thank you.
Thank you.
In fact, I think one of the things I'm seeing from this is, in as much as we know that our children have differences, we always need to remind them that they are a team, first and foremost. So those differences should work for their overall good. You know, they shouldn't see it as opportunities to take advantage of the weaknesses or be jealous of the strengths. I like, and then I think as parents, we need to be very intentional about not breeding sibling rivalry, because from what you're saying here, right? By the time a child gets to know that my sibling has this weakness, this strength, and you don't mentor that child with how to manage that information and the power behind that information they have, what happens is that child knows that they now have a power that they can exploit. And they're children, they would always want something to their advantage. You are the regulator. Remember, we did this in roles and responsibilities. You are the regulator. So you're the one that should, as you're even giving this insight to your child, you should also remind them that this insight is for the betterment of their sibling, not for them to exploit. You know, so that's something I think we also need to take into consideration in communicating with our children. They need to know that their siblings are their best friends, and there's a reason why God put them all together in the same household and in the order in which he put them, whether this person came first, this person came last. because he could have easily made the last the first or the second the last, but he knew the order in which he did it because there's an intention and there's a purpose, and each child needs to be comfortable and happy in the role that they find themselves. So I think that's something that was really speaking loud to me as I was listening to, what Effie was saying. Okay, we'll take the last question. Any other questions, please just channel them to the WhatsApp
I
group.
think the last one was from Techno. I don't know.
Yeah, I took it down. When a child in primary school asks how women give birth to their baby, how does one handle that question? Okay. Oh, not communication.
That's but the thing is, and I'll tell you, it depends on the child, depends on the age. A lot of times we say age appropriate, which is true, but some children are more mature than others, so they can take it. Yeah. Or not. I had a friend who, when her son was maybe 7 or 6, he asked her the question. She said to me, she's German, by the way, and she said to me that she told him everything, she described all the body parts and all that. And I looked at her then and I was like, at that age, I said, what if he goes to school and he starts telling everybody? Then the school will call you. But what I realized was that I'm like, know your child. I have a child I feel like is mature enough that whatever I tell him, I'll say, I'm explaining it to you because I want you to understand what it is. Although I haven't done that at that age. But when they got towards the age of puberty, where they're going to go to school and everything was going to be explained, and that's primary school, what I did was I said, a woman and a man, I've had a child before ask me, well, how come boys wee different from girls? And I went to it, God made us different. A woman is different from a man. I even went to say, when God picked the rib from from Adam to make Eve different. When you go into a certain way, they even get bored of the question. Like we said before, the thing is not to get alarmed. Because when you get alarmed, they see that in you and they think, oh, was it such a bad question I asked? And then, so the thing is to say, oh, really? At some point, if you can explain, I'll say things like, when you're slightly older and you can understand some more, I'll give you more details. But for now, know that a man and a woman, when they get married, like your parents, then you have kids. The whole birth process, I told them, oh, it's painful. When a baby is coming out your stomach, 9 months, you carry the baby. So it depends on what you think about the question. And what you're saying is actually what it is. How do mothers give birth? They have to go to the hospital, have the baby, the doctor will bring out, you have to push the baby out. Why is the child asking the question? Is this something from school, like I said, or is this something they saw on TV? Where is the question of being pregnant? Because for people who have been pregnant, the children ask when they've had the child, and then like they've seen, maybe they've seen you even go into labor. So it depends on the context of the question, how old the child is, and the child themselves. What kind of child is it? Is it the kind of child that just wants to go and gossip back and tell their friends stories, or is it a child who is truly inquisitive and curious, and the child just wants to know that nowhere a child is suddenly born? And there are many ways. You can go back to typical ways to say, there are many ways to do it. It just depends on what exactly and the situations around it. So I think that.
And let's not tell them any lies, because you see, children of nowadays, there's so many people that can tell them the truth. And so you don't want to be the source of, you don't want to lose integrity and trust with your child. The minute they know that you didn't tell them the right thing, then they're just going to be wondering if you would always, rest. And the thing is, they would even say, is it that you think that I wouldn't know? There's so many things that will go through a child's mind when you don't tell them the truth. So just be mindful of that.
There's some interesting responses here. Dr. Jules says, she remembers in London, and a 3-year-old asked me why her tummy was big. And she said she ate too much. And the child told her, don't be silly, there's a baby in there. And James said, her 5-year-old asked if her belly was cut to birth her little brother, if they had to cut open. You see, people, they know, they want to know.
They know.
They know that there are things happening there, so they want to know.
Yes.
So sometimes, if you don't,
and by the time the child is saying cut to birth her little brother, I mean, he already knows some stuff. So you want to really just tell them that, yes, sometimes you have to open the stomach, or sometimes mommy has to push, so that they know that you see them, you hear them. That's not now that's how Julia says she's so ashamed of herself. Don't worry, that was your time of ignorance. Now you know better, so you do better.
Techno Camon said, to what? Explain. I used to say that's not, I don't know. I want to know, because sometimes maybe it might be something deeper, and Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if
It's
you
very
liked the
insightful
word.
content. So the thing is weighing heavily in the person's mind. We don't know if
It
they're
is.
he or she.
But
But
sometimes take
yeah.
the child and even speak to them and say, oh, what was the reason for the question? Did you see somebody having a baby? Did you see it in a book? So you can always twist the question, reframe it. You don't have to go directly and answer. Just make it more interesting and say, oh, okay, what about it? What do you mean by how? You don't even know exactly why were they asking? Like, what was it about? Was it about how the baby comes out? Was it about how people get pregnant? There are different questions. So when you tell them, like when they tell you to, you'll be like, oh, that's not, then somebody else will say, oh, that's not the truth. Children discuss. Maybe they said a baby is born in a hospital. But they said, no, a baby is born in water. It can even be water beds. It can be, there's so many things that go through your mind. So you need to also dig a little deeper.
Yeah, and what beside you if your child's bestie is now the last born of maybe 8? I'm sure before some of us knew certain things, you knew plenty. Because your older siblings will be saying things and dropping words left and right. And so
I'm
you will
telling
have
you.
known it. You know?
Be the last born, all kinds of things I heard. So I think that's some of the things, and I'm the kind of person that I'll hear and just be quiet. I won't go and ask because I'm like, let me just be quiet, or else maybe I won't hear again. But I think now that I wish I had been, told more. But the good thing is my mom, she used to when she used to explain to my siblings, she would sit all of us together. She never said you are too small. And she would explain why. So I think, and the thing about communication, which I didn't talk about, and another important thing is I think the way your parents communicate, when people ask me why, my father had mostly girls, but the way he treated all of us was he didn't ever say, oh, you are a girl or no. And we're very confident. He wanted to hear what I see. From when I was 5, my dad was an accountant, he was a banker. When I sit down there and he's among his friends, he will give me money to count. When I count it, he will praise me and say, wow, this is my little accountant. She's going to be a banker just for counting money. And it used to make me feel, because when people ask me, I wonder where it comes from, but I see that if I look into it, I can actually pinpoint the fact that we were always given an opportunity to speak. We were always made aware of the fact that you are smart children, as women. Yeah. And it's true. So I think those things are important. The way you talk,
your dad sounds like my dad. I had the exact same experiences that you're talking about.
And here we are. We went to the same primary school, the same secondary. So you see that when you see people in your system, you might not always see each other, but you know that there are certain things that bring you together, and
that bring you together. Yeah.
I like what Gloria said.
The first time my little brother finished, he was surprised and somewhat scared, and I had to explain to her that made him a boy. Now he's 11 and his brother is 6. So I'm assuming that this when she was scared and surprised was when he was a baby, because I mean.
Yep.
So thank you so much, Efe. Thank you everyone for staying right till the very end. Yeah, she said she was curious. I will apply. This is Techno Cameron. Yeah. Come on, okay. She said, yeah, she's very curious. Thank you. I will apply the technique to analyze here. And that is what we want from this session. Thank you so much, Efe. Thank you, everyone. I noticed that we didn't lose many people, even after the time had been extended. Please show love to our speaker. Thank you so much, guys. I love you guys for really participating in these sessions. We get so much value. Efe, thank you for bringing out time. I know I can always rely on you. Thank you guys. It's been a wonderful session, but we need to honor everyone's time and wrap up. We really appreciate everything. And if you have more questions, comments, gists, examples, let's meet in the WhatsApp chat. All right, guys. Wow.